Flexing muscles and parading paper tigers will not work with the people of Bengal.
But TMC remains defiant.
The officers of Central Investigating Agency surrounded by the central forces. They provoked the local people badly, that's why there was a counter reaction spontaneously.
ED attack showdown, top focus on 6 p.m. Prime.
Good evening. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime here on India Today. I'm Akshita Nandagopal. Our focus is on the big story coming in from Bengal this evening. Of ED officers, 3 of them being gravely injured after an unprecedented assault on them by a mob of 100 to 200 villagers. Why? Because the ED officials were carrying out their duty, attempting to carry out a raid on an influential TMC leader. In such a circumstance, you'd expect politics to die down and everyone to condemn this kind of brutality. But the TMC is actually defending this act, saying that the mob was instigated by the Enforcement Directorate. We're going to be getting you the latest along with a ground report from that location where the assault took place. A check of the headlines first. BJP ups the ante against Mamata government, demands NIA probe into ED team attack. Bengal governor slams TMC for disarray of law and order. Ram Mandir politics escalates just days ahead of the consecration. NCP Supremo Sharad Pawar hurls Gaumutra jibe at the Modi government. BJP retorts, calls Pawar anti-Hindu. After widespread protests by the BJP, Hubballi court grants conditional bail to Car Sevak Shrikant Pujari 4 days after his arrest in a 31-year-old case. Big ED crackdown in Haryana. 5 crores of cash, and look at the amount of arms and ammunition recovered. Illegal foreign weapons seized from former INLD MLA Dilbagh Singh's residence. Bengal seat-sharing face-off explodes. TMC Neta snipes at Congress MP. Adiranjan says Congress won no seats in 2021, so can't expect now to get seats. Claims only Mamata can help Congress and BJP. We'll get you details on the story at 6 p.m. Prime. And vessel with 15 Indians on board hijacked near Somalia coast. INS Chennai reaches vessel and wards off pirates. Indian crew reportedly safe. And let's begin with the latest update coming in on the attack on ED officials in Bengal's North 24 Parganas. Details emerging of the injuries sustained by ED officials. 3 of them, Rajkumar Ram, Somnath Dutt and Ankur Gupta, while discharging their duty, were targeted by a mob, an angry mob of 100 to 200 villagers who stopped ED officials from going close to TMC leader Shah Jahan's residence. He's reportedly a heavyweight of that area, and therefore these villagers refused to allow the ED to step foot in his residence. We're being told that these 3 injured ED officials were rushed to a hospital. One of them has also suffered injuries with stitches, about 7 stitches to his head. Suryagni Roy is joining us live this evening with more details. Suryagni is reporting from North 24 Parganas, where this incident took place. 3 ED officers injured as a result of a complete breakdown of law and order where you are, Suryagni. What's the current situation there?
Well, Akshita, we are exactly at a spot which is some 1 or 2 kilometers just away from the place where the incident had happened today morning. Yes, 3 ED officers gravely injured. They are still in the hospital in Kolkata. They are being treated. One has 7 stitches. The other one has 4. The governor, that is C.V. Anand Bose, he is likely to visit them in a while from now. The situation, if I speak about right now, over here at this particular area and the neighboring areas and the spot where this incident happened, thankfully it's calm. It's not what like it was in the morning, but you don't really know how the situation can unfold in this given scenario. If again another team of ED with CRPF or Central Forces, they decide that they want to raid that place once again, maybe tomorrow or day after tomorrow. It's still unknown whether this kind of an incident will be repeated or not. We spoke to the police SP over here at this particular place of SP Basharhat. He clearly mentioned that the ED had informed him through an email at 8:20ish and sending force that will join the ED team. It takes time geographically. That's what he said. However,
he was intimated ahead, and that's why ED sources have told us on India Today that they believe this attack was orchestrated so that Shah Jahan could get rid of crucial evidence in the ration scam, which is where he was being questioned and interrogated by the Enforcement Directorate. Suryagni, stay on with me. We'll come across to you for more details. But I want to now round up for you all the updates on this story. It was early this morning that we broke first on India Today about the ED officials being targeted, being assaulted. Their car was vandalized by an angry mob of about 100 to 200 villagers. We hear all in a bid to stop the ED officials from going close to TMC leader Shah Jahan's residence. It's obviously sparked a political fight. The BJP, even ally Congress, has lashed out at the Trinamool Congress. But interestingly, even the governor has stepped in here seeking a report and summoning the state secretary. But amid all of this, the Trinamool Congress is defiant. Their excuse, and the reason they say this kind of an attack took place, is because the central government provoked, instigated the villagers.
Unprecedented and unwarranted. These were the scenes in Sandeshkhali village in North 24 Parganas in West Bengal on Friday. At the receiving end of the attack was a team of Enforcement Directorate officials from Kolkata. The team led by Bengal ED Additional Director Ravindra Dahiya was gheraud by an angry mob of 200 people. The attack took place when the officials were about to raid the residence of TMC leader Sheikh Shah Jahan, allegedly involved in a ration scam. Soon, a political face-off ensued between the BJP and the TMC, with Bengal's ruling party accusing the Narendra Modi government of provoking the attack.
उस राज्य का जो लॉ एंड ऑर्डर है पूरी तरह से कोलैप्स हो चुका है. ऐसा घटना का हम तीव्र निंदा करते हैं.
They provoked the local people badly. That's why there was a counter reaction spontaneously. The real fact is the people of India, they are totally frustrated, seeing this deep-rooted conspiracy engineered and monitored by Delhi on daily basis, and that too in case of Trinamool Congress so far in our state of West Bengal is concerned.
I reserve all my constitutional options.
Governor C.V. Ananda Bose warned the Mamata Banerjee government of consequences.
It is the bounden duty of a civilized government to stop barbarism and vandalism in a democracy. If government fails in its basic duty, then the Constitution of India will definitely take its course.
State BJP wrote to the Union Home Ministry seeking an NIA probe on the incident and blamed Rohingya refugees for the attack on the ED team.
बंगाल में रोहिंग्या मुस्लिम जो है उनको घुस के बंगाल की पूरी लॉ एंड ऑर्डर को क्या कर चुके हैं, और ये जो ईडी के साथ हो रहा है ये सिर्फ ईडी के साथ नहीं हो रहा है, ये अपना बंगालियों का फ्यूचर दिखा रहा है. बंगालियों के साथ भी ऐसे आगे आने वाले समय में होने वाला है.
The Congress, an ally of the TMC at the national level, claimed that law and order had completely collapsed in Bengal.
इसमें ये जगजाहिर होते हैं कि बंगाल में कानून और व्यवस्था की हाल कितना बुरा होते जा रहे हैं, क्योंकि बंगाल में ये सारे आदी हैं. आज जख्मी हुए हैं, कल ईडी वाले अगर ख़त्म हो जाए, खून हो जाए, तो हमें मुझ जैसे लोगों के लिए ये आश्चर्य की बात नहीं होगी।
With Surya Agni Roy in North 24 Parganas, Bureau Report, India Today.
And I'd like to bring in on this broadcast former Union Minister currently with the Bharatiya Janata Party, Mr. Dinesh Trivedi, who joins us live here on 6 p.m. Prime. Mr. Trivedi, thank you for speaking to us here on India Today. What's played out in Bengal, sir, is very, very concerning, extremely worrying. You've seen adverse reactions coming in from both sides. The Trinamool Congress says that this is because the mob was instigated and that's why they went ahead and targeted ED officials. But do you believe that the onus is solely right now the Mamata government, and it speaks volumes really of the worrying situation in Bengal?
I think it's a very sad day today, and every honest citizen needs to condemn this, not only across party line, but I think the sensible people in TMC also needs to understand and condemn this. I will go back to a couple of years back when I was in TMC, I was a member of parliament, when Naddaji's car was attacked. And I had condemned it. Violence has just no place in democracy. And what has had today, I must compliment the senior officers and the director of ED and the central forces that they prefer to take the blood on their hand in terms of the attack rather than retaliate with the guns, which they could have easily done, and there would have been an ugly ugly scene, because ultimately who would have been dead? The citizens. So I must compliment and my hats off. Coming back to your question, I think the law and order has actually collapsed. And if you remember, when I resigned as a member of parliament in Rajya Sabha of TMC, I mentioned the same thing, that the rule of law is not there. There is a lot of violence and there is a lot of corruption. Both are hand in hand. So this person, whoever was being raided, he has come out, he must have by now destroyed all the evidences. So he has achieved his objective. And I think it's a very sad day for democracy and very, very sad day for the common people in Bengal.
I'd like to also hear your view, sir, of what the TMC's defense has been in the face of this. You're right when you said that, you outrightly condemned an attack that took place on Mr. Nadda's convoy. Unfortunately, today, there's been no such condemnation that's coming from the Trinamool Congress. Instead, they've said that the people were instigated by the fact that the central government is only targeting opposition leaders, is only targeting TMC leaders in Bengal. What's your response to that? Do you believe that, there is some backing to that claim? Because many opposition parties have said that it's only us, we're the only ones targeted by these agencies.
I think this is a case where the Honorable Chief Minister, who should come out and condemn the whole incidents. There is just no place, like I said, of violence in a democracy. And ED is just doing its work. ED doesn't belong to any party. It doesn't listen to any kind of party politics. Unfortunately, what has happened in Bengal, although our IPS officers in Bengal, they are professional people and one of the best trained officers, but the entire police and bureaucracy has been totally politicized. I don't think so they are in a position to really do the part of their duty. So I personally feel that it is time. The report, I'm sure, would be sent by the Honorable Governor, and the Home Minister must react and must take action, because there is just no point letting the common citizens at the mercy of the goons. Today, if the media is not safe, then please believe me, nobody is safe in Bengal, and that's a sad situation. So I think TMC members will do well to come out and condemn this incident, which I did when I was even the TMC member.
Are you suggesting, sir, that then the only solution is to impose president's rule in Bengal? Is that what you're hinting at when you say action must be taken to secure people's rights in Bengal?
I think you ask any Bengali today on the street, everybody would say the same thing, that law and order has collapsed. And the common person is totally frustrated with this violence, which continues from the time of CPM. When we came to power, when I was in TMC, all the citizens changed the government because they wanted law, they wanted rule of law, they wanted education, they wanted health, they wanted the progress of Bengal, which unfortunately has not happened. The situation is somewhere worse than that. So I think let's leave it to the citizens of Bengal. You ask anybody and they'll say, yes, law and order has totally collapsed. Let us wait for the report of the Honorable Governor. I'm sure he's going to give. And I don't think so. The Home Ministry should feel shy to do whatever action it needs to be taken. And it's not going to be political action. It's going to be action to protect the life and property of common citizen, which we take the oath when we come to being a member of parliament or a minister. So it's not only the duty of the central government, I think they are obligated to take stern action as per the Constitution of India.
My final question to you, Mr. Dinesh Trivedi, is you've highlighted how law and order in Bengal has deteriorated over the last few years. And we've seen that in the form of pre-poll, post-poll violence. We've seen that in the form of these kind of incidents of ED officials being targeted so brazenly with no fear of the law or repercussions whatsoever. When you were in the Trinamool Congress, did you sense that law and order was kind of being ignored? Did you ever raise it in the party? What kind of a response did you get, sir, if yes?
Well, the very fact that I resigned when I had about 5.5 years left in the Rajya Sabha, nobody has ever done, and I don't think so anybody will do in future either. Why did I do? Because as a member of parliament of TMC, I couldn't protect the normal citizen, and unfortunately things have gone worse from those days. And I genuinely request my colleagues earlier in TMC to really come out and condemn. After all, why are we in politics? We are in politics for public good. Governments will come and governments will go. We will come and we'll go. Common citizens' life needs to be protected, and whatever we need to do in public life has to be for the good of the people, irrespective of party politics.
All right, that's a much needed message. There's no doubt about that. So thank you, Mr. Dinesh Trivedi, for joining us here on India Today and sharing your views, your perspective on what's really played out in the state of Bengal. Unfortunate scenes really of violence, unfortunate scenes of ED officials being thrashed, being beaten black and blue by this mob. Let's move on now, shift focus to another big story, and this one too is largely focused on Bengal. I'm talking about the big fight between the India allies. And while we've been seeing this playing out in multiple states, right now everyone's talking about what's happening in Bengal, where it's the Trinamool Congress versus the Congress, supposedly allies, part of the India bloc. You had first Adani Chaudhary lashing out at Mamata Banerjee because reportedly, Mamata was offering just 2 seats to the Congress. The TMC is now hit back at Adir, saying that these kind of comments are unwarranted and highlighting the Congress's track record as far as poll performances in Bengal are concerned. Let's round up first for you all the reactions coming in on the story.
The biggest battle of 2024 is just months away, and the cracks in India bloc are only widening. In West Bengal, the rift between the Congress and TMC is out in the open. The Congress has branded Mamata Banerjee as Narendra Modi's agent. And in response, the TMC has called the Congress a non-starter in Bengal.
हम लोग ये प्रूव कर दिया दीदी के नेतृत्व में अभिषेक जी जनरल सेक्रेटरी, तो पूरा यूनाइटेड टीएमसी कैन बीट भाजपा, ये तो एस्टेब्लिश्ड हो गया। उस टाइम कांग्रेस किधर थे? वो तो वोट डिवीजन करके भाजपा को हेल्प कर रहे थे।
हमारे जो सत्तारूढ़ पार्टी है बंगाल की, वो कभी इस तरह की गठबंधन नहीं करने वाली है, क्योंकि इस तरह की गठबंधन अगर होगी तो सबसे ज़्यादा दिक्कत होगी मोदी जी को। तीसरे गठबंधन में हर वक्त हर चर्चा में वो रोड़ा डालने की हर संभव कोशिश करती रहेगी।
The BJP is milking the political face-off between India bloc allies over seat sharing.
लोकसभा का चुनाव अलग है, लेकिन असेंबली चुनाव अलग है। इसलिए अधीर रंजन जो बोला दो तो है ही है, तो जुट क्यों करूं, तो इसलिए वो बोल सकते, उनका मांग का हक है, जनता उनका खिलाफ है, वो एकजुट होने के बाद कोई फायदा नहीं है।
Seat sharing isn't the only issue troubling the India bloc partners. The post of national convener is turning out to be a bone of contention. JDU leaders have hit out at other opposition parties for floating the name of Nitish Kumar as the convener of India bloc.
एक राजनीतिक साजिश चल रही है नीतीश जी के साथ कि उनको बार बार ये कहा जा रहा है कि कब प्रधानमंत्री होंगे, कब कन्वीनर होंगे, उनको बना दिया, जिसमें हमारी इच्छा ही नहीं है, जिसकी हम परीक्षा ही नहीं दे रहे हैं, तो उसके रिजल्ट के लिए आप हमसे प्रश्न क्यों पूछते हैं?
संयोजक का पद का सृजन किसने किया? और ये बार बार बोलना कि संयोजक बनाया जाएगा, कोई एप्लीकेशन दिए है क्या? वो कोई वैकेंसी क्रिएट हुआ है क्या? इस तरीके का आचरण राजनीति में सही नहीं है।
Opposition parties are likely to meet on Sunday, where the two burning issues are likely to figure. Sources say the Congress has prepared a list of seats it wants to contest, but its allies are looking to drive hard bargain. Bureau Report, India Today.
So several states really where the India bloc is facing issues with regards to seat sharing. Told you about what's happening in Bengal. Then there's Maharashtra, there's Punjab, there's Uttar Pradesh, where they're yet to kind of get their berries together and figure out what's happening. So I'm going to take it state by state, reporter by reporter, to explain to you what's happening in each situation, in each circumstance. Let's start with Bengal, which is what everyone's talking about right now. So I want to begin with Suryagni Roy for those updates. Suryagni, with the TMC now hitting out also directly at Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary, does it look like things aren't heading in the right direction? Does it look like otherwise they could reach some middle ground? Because we're hearing that the High Command has sent out a message to Adhir to stop these personal attacks at Mamta.
Well, Akshita, you know, like if you just look at what has been happening between the Trinamool Congress and the Congress over here in Bengal, the Bengal unit of the Congress over here, it is clear that these two political parties are at loggerheads, and they have been fighting against each other politically for a long time right now, since 2016 elections. So amidst all of this, when the seat sharing issues cropped up and there were reports that Mamata Banerjee is comfortable with giving the Congress two seats, the two seats that they have won. Let's not forget that the Congress has won only 2 seats in 2020, in 2019. So we asked them, we saw what Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary said, that he doesn't want, any kind of, a bheek from Mamata on this particular issue. Yeah. Now, the Trinamool Congress is of the opinion that there might be some, or rather there has to be a parameter on which seats should be, distributed. They say that in 2021, Trinamool Congress went solo and they won more than 200 seats, whereas Congress, in an alliance with the Left and Indian Secular Front, they won 0 seats. So in what capacity does Congress, ask for 6 to 8 seats is something that Trinamool Congress is, really asking and questioning. However, it's still not clear that how many seats in this particular alliance will be shared between the Congress and the Trinamool Congress, or rather, the biggest question is, will there will any seat sharing be done over here in Bengal or not between the Congress and the Trinamool Congress is the question of the hour.
It looks like it could take some more time really to figure out, but I also want to focus now on what's happening in Uttar Pradesh. We had a news break coming in this morning about the Congress putting forth their demand to the Samajwadi Party, which is that they want to fight 25 seats. And they're citing the 2009 performance to say, look, you give us 25 seats, we'll ensure we deliver. Abhishek Mishra, does it look like that will actually happen? 2009 to 2024, long time since then, things have changed drastically as far as the political picture in Uttar Pradesh is concerned.
Well, absolutely, Akshita. And there has been a lot of changes in the political scenario of the state as well. 2009, comparing it with 2024 elections, is not something which justifies that number. Although the state local unit here of the Congress party is seeking at least 25 to 23 seats as part of the number for the India Alliance. But Akhilesh Yadav, it looks like will be a tough nut to crack, because he won't be ready for that number. The reason being is that the vote share, also the performance of the Congress party in the last couple of elections, specifically the last election, only one seat, that too for the Sonia Gandhi in Raebareli. Before that, 2014, only 2 seats, one Amethi, Rahul Gandhi, and again Sonia Gandhi from Raebareli. So the number of share of the seat will certainly be depending on their vote share. 1, 2, their previous performances, and 3, the circumstances in that particular constituency or that seat. So that is something which needs to be sorted out. Akhilesh so far has not spoken yet, but it's going to be a tough situation.
You know, we've already seen differences cropping up between the Congress and the Samajwadi Party, especially what happened in Madhya Pradesh. So is that something that Akhilesh will kind of use and harbour to change and ensure that the Congress doesn't get what they want? This is also largely an ego battle for the Congress. They want to prove that they can fight it out on a substantial number of seats in every single state. And in Maharashtra, that's exactly the battle that's happening. You'd think that a state like Maharashtra, things would be technically easier because you already had an alliance of the Mahavikas Aghadi. But we've seen non-stop bickering between the Congress and the UBT Sena, with again a public feud like what we've been seeing in Bengal. Mustafa, have things been ironed out? We know that there's been a lot of backroom talks happening between Uddhav Sena and also between the Congress leadership in Maharashtra and the High Command also being directly involved.
Well, yes, Akshita, and the problem in Maharashtra for India Alliance is quite unique because in many states, Congress has to deal with one other regional party in terms of seat sharing, but in Maharashtra, they have to deal with NCP Sharad Pawar faction and the faction of the Shiv Sena. So there are seats which have to be divided in 3 parties. The Congress conducted its Foundation Day ceremony here in Maharashtra, in Nagpur, so they are aiming big. In Maharashtra, they had just won one Lok Sabha seat in 2019. So clearly, you can say that both the parties, the NCP and Shiv Sena, the Congress will have to convince them very hard to give them substantial amount of seats. There are 48 seats, Lok Sabha seats in Maharashtra, the second highest after Uttar Pradesh. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Mustafa, for joining us with all of those details. We'll see, of course, maybe in a week from now, we'll have clarity on whether the Congress is able to get what they want in many of these states and what kind of middle ground is reached. But what's clear is that while you're seeing all of this bickering taking place, a lot of grandstanding by these political parties, at the end of the day, each of these parties have also made it clear that they want to make this alliance work, particularly the Congress, with the High Command, Mallikarjun Kharge, making it very clear to the likes of Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary and all the other leaders who've been resorting to this kind of back and forth publicly. He's told them to refrain from doing that, saying these are our allies, we need to keep them happy. So it'll be interesting to see how really things play out in a week or so. Remember that there was a deadline that was issued of December 31st to figure out the seat sharing deal, but it looks like they've clearly overshot that deadline. It's taking a lot more time because it's also a lot harder for the Congress to figure out what exactly the seat sharing deal could look like in different parts of the country. Let's cut across to breaking news that's coming in. And this is a big update coming in from the Indian Navy. They've confirmed that they've managed to reach the ship that was in fact taken over by Somalian pirates. And INS Chennai, which is the Indian naval ship, has reached the hijacked vessel, which was MV Leela Norfolk off Somalia coast. The warship has launched its helicopter and issued a warning to pirates to abandon the hijacked vessel. Indian crew on board are safe. The Marine commandos are ready for operations. So we understand that our officials now have in fact kicked off their operations to secure the Indian crew. They were in touch with them actively. Remember that this is a ship, a vessel that was hijacked off the Somalian coast. We've seen many such instances taking place, but in one successful operation that we're reporting on right now, the Indian Navy deployed almost immediately INS Chennai. Elite Marine commandos from the warship have now embarked on the hijacked vessel and are going to carry out sanitization operations as well. What we can confirm also for you is that the Indian crew, the Indian nationals who were on board this particular vessel, are all very much safe, and it's only a matter of time before we also get official communication from the Navy on their condition. But this is a successful operation that's been conducted in a matter of hours by the Navy. With that update, I'm slipping into a short break here on 6 p.m. Prime. Coming up on the other side, we'll get you news from Tamil Nadu, where a day after Udayanithi Stalin met with Prime Minister Modi, the focus is once again on the centre versus state over funds for relief for South Tamil Nadu.
India, as you know, is a land of diversity where countless stories are born every day. A brand that has celebrated the rich mosaic of our country, India Today, is the brand that has been covering stories from all spheres of life from across the country tirelessly, making sense of the myriad India and the Indians residing in here. The story of India Today and the story of my latest film, Donkey, which is inspired by the phenomenal dreams and struggles of the same Indians and is a story about love and friendship filled with humor and heart.
हमने मजबूरी में अपना घर छोड़ा था, वरना कोई अपना देश, अपना परिवार, अपने दोस्तों को छोड़कर क्यों जाएगा सरहदों पे गोली खाने?
While my film Donkey symbolizes the struggle of many who leave home and their loved ones behind in the hope for a better life, they miss their homeland in this tough bargain. But it's their spirit that helps them carry on. India Today has been capturing the indomitable spirit of being an Indian for over 5 decades now. India Today, making sense to India, making sense of India.
The fault lines have become apparent once again. Just as the India Alliance seemed set to name Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar as its convener, the Trinamool has reiterated its preference for Congress Chief Mallikarjun Kharge for the role. According to insiders, the Trinamool Congress favours Kharge due to his Dalit community background. The proposal from the last India Alliance meeting had left Bihar leaders Nitish Kumar and Lalu Prasad upset. But this doesn't indicate a growing camaraderie between the Trinamool and the Congress. When it comes to the upcoming Lok Sabha elections, Trinamool, according to sources, has offered the Congress only 2 seats across West Bengal's 42 Lok Sabha constituencies. This offer is based on the Allies' 2019 performance, securing less than 6% of the vote. The Congress has retaliated against its alliance partner, accusing the Trinamool chief of serving Prime Minister Modi's political interests.
हम लोग तो भूख मांगने नहीं गए, ये ममता बनर्जी खुद कह रहे हैं कि हम गठबंधन करके चुनाव लड़ेंगे। ये दोनों सीट हमारे पास है, उनकी दया की कोई जरूरत नहीं है हमें। आप अपने दम पर लड़ सकते, चल सकते, कुछ भी कर सकते। ये और नहीं चाहते कि गठबंधन हो। अगर गठबंधन नहीं होते हैं तो सबसे ज्यादा खुशी कौन होगी आज हिंदुस्तान में? अगर गठबंधन ना हो सबसे ज्यादा खुशी होगी हमारे मोदी साहब में।
The Congress has threatened to contest all seats in West Bengal on its own, alleging the Trinamool was aligning with the BJP.
আগামী দিনে অবাক হবেন না এই খোকাবাবু যদি বিজেপির প্রজেক্টেড চিফ মিনিস্টারের মুখ হয় বাংলায়, অবাক হবেন না, অ্যাডভান্স বলে রাখছি।
A classic political narrative of one-upmanship appears to have unfolded within the India Alliance as it ostensibly prepares to challenge the Modi government in the upcoming general election. Bureau Report, India Today.
It's a proud moment for Gita Press, the largest publisher of the world of Hindu religious texts. 101-year-old Gita Press celebrates the inauguration of Ram Mandir by printing 10,000 copies of Ayodhya Darshan, a comprehensive book on Ayodhya. It includes history, temples, pilgrimage sites, and cultural significance of Ayodhya. All these books would be part of prasad for prominent dignitaries attending the consecration ceremony on 22nd January.
जो हमारे कल्याण विशेषांक 1972 में प्रकाशित हुआ था, उसका पुनर्मुद्रण विशिष्ट रूप से करके उसे विशिष्ट अति विशिष्ट व्यक्तियों को देने के लिए उपलब्ध कराया जा रहा है। कुछ पुस्तकों का एक गुच्छ बना करके जो अति विशिष्ट महानुभाव हैं उनकी सेवा में प्रसाद रूप में देने के लिए वहाँ की व्यवस्था को उपलब्ध कराया जा रहा है।
Gita Press was also part of the research and inspiration for the construction of the temple. The new Ram temple walls depict murals from the Ramayana epic. For the most authentic reference of these murals, Gita Press provided paintings from its collection inventory of Leela Chitra Mandir.
वहाँ कुछ चित्र बनाने के लिए बात आई कि अहल्या जी का चित्र है या निषाद राज जी का चित्र है या गुहे का चित्र है या वशिष्ठ जी का चित्र है, ये कहाँ चित्र अच्छे मिलेंगे, जिसमें 60 से 65 चित्रों की लिस्ट उन्होंने दी थी और जिसकी सॉफ्ट कॉपी हम लोगों ने उनको उपलब्ध करा दी है।
The recipient of Gandhi Peace Prize, Gita Press is also working to open a stall at the temple complex. Bureau Report, India Today.
लोकसभा का चुनाव अलग है, लेकिन असेंबली चुनाव अलग है। इसलिए अधीर रंजन जो बोला दो तो है ही है, तो जुट क्यों करूं, तो इसलिए बोल सकते, उनका मांग का हक है। तो ये पहले बोलूं, ये जुट का कोई लक्ष्य उद्देश्य अच्छा ही नहीं है। इसलिए बांचने के लिए एक प्रयास, झूठा प्रयास हम बांचेंगे। जनता उनका खिलाफ है, वो एकजुट होने के बाद कोई फायदा नहीं है।
इंडिया गठबंधन का मुख्य लक्ष्य 2024 में आदरणीय नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार को अपदस्थ करना और सीधा मुकाबला हो। हम यह समझते हैं कि कांग्रेस के राष्ट्रीय नेतृत्व को भी गंभीरता से जो स्थानीय स्तर पर जो विवाद के बिंदु बने हुए हैं उसका समाधान यथोचित हो जाए, जिससे कि राजनीतिक कटुता और कलुष का वातावरण न बन पाए।
Welcome back. You're watching 6 p.m. Prime. Let's get your details of all the reactions coming in from Tamil Nadu on the meeting between Udayanidhi Stalin and Prime Minister Modi. Now, Udayanidhi Stalin, while meeting with the Prime Minister, the official agenda was, of course, to discuss and invite the Prime Minister for the Khelo India Games that is happening in Tamil Nadu this time. But Udayanidhi Stalin took to social media to say that he also urged the Prime Minister to release funds, NDRF funds, which has been a bone of contention between centre and state. It triggered a fresh political showdown as the BJP has lashed out at Udayanidhi Stalin, some of them claiming that he's distorted the agenda of the meeting, others saying that he's distorted claims by saying that funds haven't been released by the central government, including Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who's hit back at Udayanidhi Stalin and gave full details, essentially, of what funds have been given and what has in fact been given to Tamil Nadu as far as projects are concerned. The Tamil Nadu Finance Minister Thangam Thenarasu today has responded, giving details and data to back the DMK's claim and the campaign that they've started, saying our tax, our rights.
பலவிதமான திட்டங்களை 2014 மக்களுக்கோசம் மக்கள் நலம் கருதி நிறைய இண்டிவிஜுவல் ஸ்கீம்ஸ் எடுத்துட்டு வந்தார், திட்டங்களை எடுத்துட்டு வந்தார். அதாவது மக்களுக்கு பேசிக்கா அவங்க வீட்டில் கிடைக்க வேண்டிய குடிநீர், நல்ல வீட்டு வரைக்கும் இருக்கக்கூடிய சாலை, வயல்ல அவங்க உற்பத்தி பண்ணக்கூடிய தானியங்களை வெளியில எடுத்துட்டு வந்து மார்க்கெட்டுக்கு எடுத்துட்டு போறதுக்கு வசதி, அப்படியாக நிறைய ஸ்கீம்ஸ். அவங்க ஹெல்த் நல்லா இருக்கணும்னு ஆயுஷ்மான் பாரத் அப்படிலாம் திட்டம். இந்த 17 திட்டங்கள் நாங்க ரஃபா டோட்டலா 17 திட்டங்கள் நகரப்புறத்துக்கு, 17 திட்டங்கள் ரூரல் ஏரியாக்கு அப்படின்னு கிளாசிஃபை பண்ணிருக்கோம்.
All right, let's get you also those images that everyone's been talking about since yesterday of the Prime Minister's visit to Lakshadweep. It's of course changed everyone's travel goals for 2024. But the video of him snorkeling has, believe it or not, triggered a political fight. Election season, almost everything turns political. So did that video. How exactly? We'll break down for you in this report how the Congress has responded and even compared it to Rahul Gandhi and how he didn't have a life jacket on versus Prime Minister Modi had a life jacket on. Let's play out our next report for you.
These images from Prime Minister Narendra Modi's recent trip to Lakshadweep are a huge hit on the internet. During the visit to kickstart various development projects, Prime Minister Modi was seen taking time off from his busy schedule to explore the islands. From early morning walks on the pristine beaches to spending time in solitude on the seashore, Prime Minister Modi did it all. But what caught public imagination the most is him snorkeling and seeing the priceless coral ecosystem. The beautiful images shared by the Prime Minister have prompted many to add the Union Territory to their bucket list. However, the Prime Minister's snorkeling pictures were quick to grab the Congress's criticism. Raising questions on the Prime Minister's trip, the Grand Old Party launched scathing attacks. Drawing parallels between an old video of Rahul Gandhi, the Congress said that Rahul had jumped into the deep sea without any safety apparatus, and Prime Minister on the other end is wearing a life jacket. The politics aside, Prime Minister Modi's visit has put the spotlight on Lakshadweep, an archipelago of 36 islands with an area of just 32 square kilometers. India's smallest union territory can expect a big boost to tourism soon. Bureau Report, India Today.
Meanwhile, Gautam Adani has made a comeback. What a comeback it is. He's back at the #1 spot as India's richest man and even Asia's richest. Essentially, he's defeated Mukesh Ambani. And why do we call it a comeback? Because after the Hindenburg report, Gautam Adani lost nearly 75% of his wealth. But he's regained all of that to once again come to the #1 spot.
A year ago, Gautam Adani was in the race to be the richest man in the world, in striking distance of toppling Elon Musk for the top spot. Then came the Hindenburg report, alleging fraud, unsustainable debt levels, and money laundering. Within weeks, the infrastructure tycoon had lost 75% of his wealth, virtually disappearing from the richest in the world club. But the billionaire's fortunes have turned again, spurred by a Supreme Court verdict on the Adani Hindenburg case. The apex court refused to give any directions or interfere with the jurisdiction of SEBI, noting that the capital markets regulators' regulations do not suffer from any infirmities. The Supreme Court also rejected petitioners' demand to transfer the investigation in the case from SEBI to a Special Investigation Team or CBI. The positive sentiment propelled the market capitalization of Adani Group shares by 65,000 crore rupees by the time trade ended. Gautam Adani saw his wealth zoom by $13.3 billion in the first 4 days of this year, overtaking Mukesh Ambani as the richest Indian and Asian. According to Bloomberg Billionaires list, Gautam Adani is worth $97.6 billion, just a tad ahead of his fellow Gujarati Mukesh Ambani, who is valued at $97 billion. Adani started last year with a net worth of $121 billion, which dipped to a low of $37.7 billion in the last few days of February. His return to a valuation of $97.6 billion means he has added an absolutely incredible 1,604 crore rupees to his personal wealth every day since hitting the low point. Meanwhile, in the past 1 year, Gautam Adani has been fast diversifying his empire beyond infra, committing an investment of $100 billion over the next decade for green transition into data centers and artificial intelligence. Bureau Report, Business Today Television.
And before we wrap up this broadcast, a quick update for you on the cold wave that's gripped several parts of North India, including here in the national capital. The Met Department has predicted that there will be, unfortunately, no respite in sight in the coming days as well. But the temperatures have dropped to, in fact, a low that we usually witness at this time of the year in winter come January. Now, in Delhi, as well as several other parts of the country, particularly in the north, there have been reports of dense fog as well. Visibility is reduced to just a few meters because of the thick fog blanket. There is a warning also from the Met Department of a dense to very dense fog warning in Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand and East Rajasthan. So the current conditions, if you live in North India, will continue for the next 2 to 4 days, is what the Met Department has predicted. And hopefully after that, if you're not really a winter person, the temperatures will come up and it will get better. That's all we have time for in this edition of 6 p.m. Prime. Thanks very much for joining us. Coming up on the other side is Mission 2024 with Preeti Chaudhary. She's going to be running you through all the updates coming in on, in fact, the attack on ED officials in Bengal. Unprecedented assault on ED officials, 3 of them injured. More details coming up on the other side.
To ask you, we just had Air Chief Bhadoria on the show, and now we're talking to you specifically about the Tejas Mark II, because I've seen you've been very busy online, busting a lot of myths, setting the record straight as far as the Tejas Mark II is concerned. Lots of excitement has obviously been drummed up about this aircraft, which is not yet ready. The timelines are a little later than expected, but give our viewers a sense of where things are at, Anant, as far as the Tejas Mark II is concerned.
Yeah, thank you, Shiv. We're happy to be part of this discussion. After covering this program for many years, I can confirm to you that, something which is not a breaking news, but Tejas Mark II is happening. It is on right track. And similar to what has happened to Tejas, means LCA Mark I, there has been a lot of news that's floating around, creating a lot of confusion. And unfortunately, the problem with the system is that there is no